So if everybody's, I will knock on the table this time and call the special board meeting of the Concord School Board to order. This is November 20th, 2023. Here for the purpose of, thank you, purpose of acquisition of property. We have one board member who is requesting to participate remotely pursuant to RSA 91-A:2, Roman numeral 3, which has the options for and restrictions upon remote participation. Pursuant to this, the member seeking to participate needed to report to the chair 24 hours prior to the meeting, which was done, reported to me. And then we as a group need to allow and vote to accept this participation of the member. And then we just have to decide whether physical presence is not practical, which is done by the chair, and then just verify our connection that the participating member can hear us and that we can hear them. So I guess prior to doing that, we need to call the roll of those here.
Mr. Carter?
Here.
Mr. Cotton?
Here.
Mr. Richards?
Here.
Ms. Higgins? Here. Ms. Walsh?
Here.
And Mr. Weinberg will be arriving shortly, and I am here.
So we do have a quorum physically present in the room, and with that, I will make a motion to allow Ms. Walsh to participate remotely. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Ms. Walsh cannot be here, and I will note that, or I will assert to that, whatever I have to do. And then we'll just verify our connection. Ms. Walsh, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
And we can hear
Can
you
you
very
hear me?
clearly. Yep, we can hear you very clearly. So with that being done, I guess the only thing we have to identify is, are you alone or is there someone else present?
I am alone.
Okay. And then if you were to depart, or when you are departing, you just need to notify the board here. So with that,
Okay.
I don't think there's anything else with regards to that. Let's start our meeting. First item on the agenda is the acquisition of purchased property, 127 Warren Street. Mr. Dunn or Superintendent, do you want to lead this discussion?
Sure. So, as discussions, as you look to the future, there is a property that came available around the high school. That address is 127 Warren Street. It abuts the former child care center for the CRTC. We have approached that owner, and that owner has expressed their wish to sell the property to the district. We have entered into a purchase and sale agreement for the amount of $375,000. Everything is pretty much ready to go. Besides the closing date, we have tentatively set for November 30th. The purchase and sale is signed to begin the next phase. They have disclosed the lead agreement, and they have disclosed the property agreement. Two conditions as well on this were that it be a clean title. It did come back with a clean title. And the second was a commercial phase 1 environmental. And that report was given to me tonight. The synopsis to me, or this afternoon, the summary of that was that the property is clean, and that what is expected for a home from 1890 is probably what you would expect. There might be some asbestos shingles on the side of the house There might be lead paint because it's from before 1971, but that would be typical of this vintage, but nothing that was unexpected. Again, you had a commercial phase one. That was done based on my experience with properties here. That report will be uploaded into your drive and made public at the commencement of the sale of the property. But that is it. If you have any other thing that will happen as far as this, in this proposed motion that we have for you, in addition, the owners and their moving to a new property will need some time to get their stuff out. They do not plan to occupy. So we have agreed to enter into, based on prior discussions, into a short-term lease and lease the property back to them. And those two conditions was that the property is insured, utilities are maintained, and that it is short-term. So we have proposed a February 1 date. We're still finalizing those details, but in that motion, it'll cover three things: authorization to sign the closing documents, 2, enter into the lease, and 3, how you're funding it. So that will hopefully cover that property. But part of the requirement in which you purchased this was RSA 91A3, Section 2D, consideration of the acquisition, sale, or lease of real or personal property. So you're allowed to discuss and do all those under non-public. Once the sale is to commit, you have to make a public vote, which we are asking for you to do tonight, so that we can execute and finalize the sale and then release these documents publicly.
Thank you, Mr. Dunn. Just to be clear for anyone who is listening or watching at this time, that in a non-public session, this board did authorize Mr. Dunn to make this offer for the purchase of the property. And at this point, we are discussing it publicly. So at this point, is there any questions or further discussion? Go ahead, Mr. Croto.
So, right on the tail of what you just said, that we did authorize Mr. Dunn and the administration to go forward with this, would administration or Superintendent Murphy or Mr. Dunn or Chair care to let the public know why we're interested in this property? We're going to spend that much money.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be happy to kick that off.
Thank you.
We have been very aware of many properties around the high school. I think you know that our Career Technical Center is at capacity in terms of program development. And on the table for us for consideration are 3 programs, but we're not able to institute those programs. One is welding, the second is Cisco, and the third was cybersecurity. And based on all of the information and research that they have, those are really 3 programs that are in high demand, and a great deal of interest in those programs. But again, we didn't have the facility to be able to handle that, so that as we begin to address the need for these programs, we will do that through the Department of Ed, as you know, and we will be seeking career and technical.
Excuse me, I'm not sure if the superintendent is actually speaking, but I can't hear her.
Thank you very much, Ms. Walsh. She has been talking, and then we just need to get you to be able to.
I can move this over.
Okay.
Why don't I do that? Well, it's only that because it's not wired into the mic.
Okay.
Sorry, Pam.
All right.
Better?
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So just quickly, what I shared with the board was the fact that there were 3 programs that the principal at the Career Technical Center is interested in, based on the advisory groups, based on the need in the community and the data. One was Cisco, the second was cybersecurity, and the third was welding. And so we'll obviously begin the process of working with the Department of Ed and seeking career and technical monies that will become available. Looks like they're switching their program, they're switching their application to a little bit more program focused rather than building focused. So We think that we'll be in good places to apply for some funding for programs, but we don't have a place to have those programs. And as you know, this property rather, abuts the property that used to be the early childhood program. So it makes sense that we might be able to utilize this area to expand our programs. But really, that's been the focus of our discussions.
And thank you. I was going to bring that up if you hadn't, is that the property abuts an area, a property that we previously used for the Career and Technical Center. It's not currently being used for that, but we previously used it. May I ask any other board member that if they see Ms. Walsh's hand go up or whatever, since I can't see, she's behind me on the screen, could you let me know so that, or Pam, you can just say something and let everybody know that you have a question. Can you hear me?
She's unmuting herself.
She's on mute.
I'm watching. Yeah.
Okay.
I can hear you, and I do have a question.
Go ahead.
I just think it would be helpful if Mr. Dunn went over the source of funds for the public.
Go ahead, Mr. Dunn.
Okay. I'll bring it over just so she can hear.
Because I'm loud.
Yeah.
I'm liking this tour of the room. It's like exciting.
So I'm going to put you back to the board.
Because my voice carries.
So in your motion, what we're proposing is, as you remember, when you finalized your budget in October, there was a significant amount of funds that you were putting into your trust funds. This is money you've already appropriated. So going into your facilities and renovation trust fund, there was a significant amount of money, and that's where we're proposing right now that you pull it from, because it's already an appropriation of a transfer, and that is your account that has the most amount of money right now. So that's where we're proposing you take it from currently.
Thank you, Mr. Dunn. Other questions or discussion comments? Please let me know if Ms. Walsh has anything. So, just to clarify for my own personal, because
Yep.
this is money, taxpayer money that we would be spending, and Mr. Croto is exactly right. We are extremely constrained in our area for the CRTC right now, if I'm not mistaken. We
Yep.
are right up against Fruit Street, or the alley there on that side, and we don't have any adjacent areas that we could expand to.
No, we let me get up, let me just get up.
You sure?
Yeah.
You know what, we've been, you hear me, Pam? Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yes, I can hear you.
We've been looking at property
both said that.
around the area because we knew that our backs were against the wall, so to speak. There was nowhere else to go. You're up to about 730, 40 youngsters every day in that facility with program, and we've been watching any real estate in that area because the need is there, and by the way, the demand is there from the students, and so we're responding to obviously our community, our businesses, but students' desire. I always tell the story about the shipyard down in Portsmouth. They are begging for youngsters who have skills in welding. They bring the submarines in, that's their job, but they can't find young people that have any skills in welding. And I know that the youngsters over at the Seacoast School of Technology in Exeter, they have a job offer by the shipyard before they finish their program over at Exeter, because they know they can bring them, train them, and use those workers. So, but it's in a big demand, and I talked to some other people who agreed with that. So,
And then
it's worth it.
And am I correct in the fact that this is a program with CRTC that we are paid by school districts to teach their kids, right? So when people come to us for this particular program, this is a tuition payment into the Concord School District.
That's correct. I mean, not only do we get payment from the state, they get payment towards the cost of about, what, $7,000?
So that's $7,500.
About $7,500, but that is that money is used so that we can expand program too, so that this is not a burden that our taxpayers carry. Obviously, our Concord students take advantage of it, well over 250 of our students, but we get reimbursements from all the 9 sending districts.
Yeah, they pay a capital fee that comes to the district, and that goes into a trust fund for
Okay.
CRTC.
I'm going to say right now, just for the sake of complete disclosure, that I am very much a fan of expanding the programs. My youngest son was in the computer program. He wanted to go into cybersecurity. He's currently at Purdue for cybersecurity, and there is a huge demand for that. So I'm very much biased in favor of that, just because I have seen the results or the possibilities for our students to go to top-notch universities across the country. Other comments or questions? All right. Before we go to public comment, and then vote on this particular motion, or make a motion to determine this, I believe we have a non-public session for some additional information. So with that, I will make a motion to go into non-public session pursuant to RSA 91A:3, Section 2D, consideration of the acquisition, sale, or lease of real or personal property which, if discussed in public, would likely benefit a party or parties whose interests are adverse to those of the general community. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by either Mr. Croto or whoever you write down first. Ms. Hastings. Is there any discussion on going into non-public? And please let me know if Ms. Walsh has a question or raises her hand. Not seeing any, let's do a roll call vote, please.
Okay. Mr. Croto?
Aye.
Mr. Cotton?
Yes.
Mr. Richards?
Yes.
Ms. Higgins?
Aye.
Ms. Welch?
Aye.
And I will vote aye.
Okay. So we will go into non-public. We will go off the air for a brief time. I do not anticipate this to be a very long session, after which we will come back out of non-public and resume our public broadcast and meeting. So with that, we're into non-public. Back to our public meeting. At this point, I'll ask for any public comment on the meeting so far with regards to the acquisition of the property 127 Warren Street. Not seeing any public comment, we will move on to item 3. Is there a motion on the acquisition of 127 Warren Street? Mr. Cotton?
I'll make the motion. I move that the school board authorize the purchase of 127 Warren Street, Concord, New Hampshire, 03301, from Comparetto Family 2023 Trust on the condition that the terms of the purchase and sale agreement executed on October 23, 2023 have been satisfied. If the terms and conditions of the purchase and sale are successfully satisfied, the board further authorizes the superintendent, business manager, or designee to set a closing date on or before December 1, 2023, and sign all necessary documents to acquire 127 Warren Street. The board authorizes the transfer of $375,000 plus any additional fees associated with the property purchase from an existing appropriation of funds that were to be transferred to the Facilities and Renovation Trust Fund, and an amount up to the cost of purchasing the property. In addition, the board authorizes the administration to enter into a short-term lease agreement with the current or former owners after the execution of the sale of the property. The minimum terms of the agreement should provide insurance for the property and cover any costs the district would outlay to maintain the property while the tenants or the tenants' belongings occupy the property. This lease is expected to extend no longer than February 1, 2024.
Thank you, Mr. Cotton. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Croto. Is there further discussion? And please let me know if Pam has her hand up at all.
Okay.
Okay, and not seeing any. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Thank you. That concludes the public part of our meeting. We have another non-public session, and I will make a motion to go into non-public session pursuant to RSA 91A:3, Section 2K, consideration by a school board of entering into a student or pupil tuition contract authorized by RSA 194 or RSA 195A, which, if discussed in public, would likely benefit a party or parties whose interests are adverse to those of the general public or the school district that is considering a contract, including any meeting between school boards or committees thereof. So,
Second.
seconded? Okay, and this will be a roll call vote.
Okay, Mr. Croto?
Yes.
Mr. Cotton?
Yes.
Mr. Richards?
Yes.
Ms. Higgins? Yes. Ms. Walsh?
Yes.
And I will vote yes.
So we will be going into non-public session. At that point, I don't anticipate that there will be any further business. So when we come out, we will simply adjourn, and then given that, this will cease our public transmission by streaming and by Concord TV. So thank you all, and we'll take a brief recess while Concord TV wraps things up. Okay? Good.